just assume everything you say to Billy is somewhat aggressive.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean,
exactly right.
Yeah, exactly right. Some guy usually say something.
You know
aggressive.
what, Chris? You know what?
What?
Fuck you, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
wow. Oh, wow. Is he?
Oh, wow. Oh, he threw the jersey on the
jersey. Oh, my God.
Take off that big-headed, stupid hat you got on. It kind of looked cool from the side at first, but now I look at you and from the front, you look like a bobblehead. Holy crap.
He spiked your jersey.
He did. He spiked my jersey. It's done.
I mean, you sent us a text that said 11:15. We get it. Okay. You need to be out at a certain time. We got it. And then a couple of seconds go by, and it dawned on you that you had not greeted Billy the way you greet Billy every single day, which is, fuck you, Billy.
Exactly right. I just, I want to just make sure we started off the day the right way, and I get him warmed up and ready to go here for the pod. That's what he's doing. Let's go.
And then you keep us waiting, and you're late after all these rude messages from you this morning.
I'm sorry about that. I know. I had to do one more thing that I had forgotten about, so I messed that up. But it's okay. We're even. We've waited on Stugotz plenty of times before.
Don't lash out at me, Sims. I didn't spike your jersey. I mean,
Chris, you will love this because we're not going to let him live this down. We had an interview before this, and we were all waiting and just started without him because he locked himself out of his house.
Somehow I'm not surprised.
Yeah, nobody was. Not a single person was surprised.
How does that even happen? Like, you don't have a garage code either or nothing? It's 2024.
I want to explain to you what
2025, but close.
Yes,
so my garage.
Smoky, drinky.
Are you still writing 24?
Probably have. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I probably have written 24.
You have to March to correct that, I think.
Right. That's what I figure.
So Sims, I have a loaner, and so the garage clicker that I have, I don't have it with me because it's in the original car. And then it's so cold down here that now this happens, Billy. I'm not certain if you're aware. No,
it's like 63 the most.
So the keypad I have on my garage, it froze. It's frozen. I mean,
that's impossible.
That's it.
That is the biggest bullshit I've ever heard.
Hold on a second.
I woke up today in 18-degree weather, and my key code worked. I don't think that was a problem.
It's built for the cold weather, your key code.
63.
Right. Your key code is built for the cold, though. I mean,
63. Yeah, that's right. So even key codes are soft in Florida is what you're telling me. That's what you're telling me. They can't play in the cold weather.
I mean, stuff happens in Florida. You get in your car, it's 61 degrees, and it says you have a flat tire. I mean, you need tire pressure.
Yeah, I know. I got some family in South Florida, as a close cousin, and they're like, the other day were texting me like the kids thought it was so cool because we had to turn on the seat heaters today in the car. They hadn't done that. Yes. And I was, you rugged South Floridians dealing with that horrible weather.
It is currently 68 degrees in Parkland, Florida.
Oh my gosh! Right,
frozen.
The whole country wants 68 degrees right now.
I know.
We're freezing our ass off.
The garage code froze.
The keypad. It's built, built for warm weather.
Yeah. It's an anomaly. Somehow things freeze at 63 degrees in Florida. Somehow.
So good. Oh, God. I deserve it. Chris, we were talking right before you came on, Quinn Ewers, and him opting in for the NFL draft. I'm not certain if that's the move now for guys because we have seen it with other guys who opt in. Carson Beck just did it, opted in, got the deal from Miami, got back out of the draft. We think it's pretty stupid that Quinn Ewers opted into the NFL draft. We think he should take the money to stay in college for another year. What do you think?
I agree with you there. That's really what I would have thought. Now, I mean, what makes me think is maybe did he not have people offer him the amount of money that maybe he thought he would get? I don't know. But yeah, if you told me like, oh wait, and this is where you're right, college is different now, and you can maybe keep a guy around a year longer where it goes, wait, I'm not going in the first round, and I can collect a better check staying in college here than I can in my first 2 years or 3 years in the NFL. Why don't I do that? I was expecting that. I was expecting him to sign on with another team. I've told you guys before, I didn't think there was any way he was coming back to Texas. That wasn't happening. But to hear the draft thing, I was surprised the other day. I really was, and surprised, and then yesterday I should say, and surprised just because one of what I just said, but two, to what I think you're saying. I mean, we're talking about a guy here that I think is going to be viewed as a 5th round pick in the NFL, somewhere in that range. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near day 1 or day 2. And that's where, of course, I thought he would stay in college too.
What do you make of Sarkisian and the NFL rumors? We talked about this last week. You think you told us you thought he would be a good NFL coach. He's probably the most qualified of the college coaches right now, outside of Belichick. So what do you make of that?
Well, I mean, he's capable. I just would want to be like, why? Why would you want to do it? Why would you want to go into the unknown of the NFL?
Right.
You're in arguably the greatest college job there is in football right now, or certainly one that's at the top 5, right? And then they're one of the few colleges that can pay you like NFL money for a long, long time. So, and you finally got the program exactly where you got it here. I mean, gosh, we lost a ton of studs in the NFL last year. It didn't miss a beat and just went, hey, we're one of the 3 or 4 best teams again this year. Right. And I think that's going to continue to roll. So, I'm sure there's been some calls to his agent and all that, but I've never heard anything where was real tangible from any of the people I know in the NFL to think that Sark was like really a high-level consideration for one of the 6 jobs that are left still open.
The thing that I don't understand, I guess, between the difference between the college and NFL right now is the coaches that are leaving are usually like the older coaches that are like, I'm not used to this world where we have to pay the players and all of that, right? But even in this like new world of parity in college football where any team can reach out and give a quarterback $3 million, like hypothetically, right? Texas can still outpay the majority of the teams out there. And that's so much more of an advantage than you would have going to the NFL, where every team can pay every player whatever it is that they want. So even though more teams can come in and take your players, you're really competing with like 12 to 15 that could actually steal your players.
I don't even think it's that many, really. Yeah. I mean, I think your point's very real. It's a good one. That's why you saw the head coach of Boston College, Jeff Hafley, leave Boston College, right? And go, I'll go be a coordinator in the NFL somewhere, because he knew at a school like that, he just can't compete with the way the current status is in college football. Chip Kelly at UCLA. Wait, the hell with being the head coach at UCLA? I'll go be an O coordinator at one of the teams Billy is talking about that can kind of sway the pendulum in their favor year after year after year because of their big money. Hey, college football, I think we're gonna dive down into Yankees, Dodgers, Red Sox, Houston Astros territory here. It's gonna be like the same 4 teams every year. That's what we're gonna. I know there's commissioners in certain conferences that are already like, whoa, I don't know about the NIL. The SEC is sweating their ass off, right? They've been getting an advantage by stockpiling rosters forever, right? And I saw this even at Texas when I was there. We could have 3rd-string linebacker that would start in the NFL, but he couldn't start at our team at Texas and they couldn't transfer because back in that day, you basically lost 2 years of your life trying to transfer. So now rosters are spread out throughout college football. Georgia, Texas, whatever, they can't keep a 3rd-string awesome linebacker on the roster. He goes, to hell with that. I'm going somewhere else. I'm going to make money. And then on top of all that, they wanted to make it paying legal. And again, I mean, everybody knows the SEC was a little more forthcoming with paying players under the table. We all know that.
What?
Yeah, exactly. What? But now, all of a sudden, like the first year paying players is, oh, shit, everything's even. Oh, shit, the SEC ain't that good. Oh, shit, they better watch out because none of the SEC schools other than Texas have the amount of money that Michigan, Notre Dame, or Ohio State have. And I just think you're going to see that. Notre Dame's going to be printing it. This is the greatest gift ever to Notre Dame. Yeah. They're like, wait, we have very high academic standards. We've missed out on some people because of that, but now we can pay you a ton of money to come here, and now you'll be like, I'll go to school, and it'd be a little harder in school for that money, and we'll be a top 4 team in college football every year. I mean, Notre Dame's going to be a powerhouse now from here on out, and I think those 4 teams that I mentioned, add another team or 2 into that, are just going to dominate college football.
PFT with Mike Florio every day on Peacock, the Unbuttoned podcast, Football Night in America. NBC has Rams-Eagles on Sunday. We will get to that game in just a second. Chris, how much money did Sam Darnold cost himself the last 2 weeks?
$10-15 million, right?
Jesus, man.
I would say so.
Wow.
He still can get a good payday. He certainly can do that. But maybe getting a $30 or $40 million, 1 year type of deal, or a 2 year $60 million, something like that. I don't know if he's going to see that. And where if he played well the last 2 weeks, I think he might have got to go to a place maybe and they'd been like, hey, you're the starter. Now it's going to be like, we'll bring him into the starter, but I don't know if we want him long term. Maybe we should draft a quarterback too, just like we saw him do in Minnesota. So that's where it's tough. It is tough. The Detroit game, guys, he played really bad. I am not going to defend him much. Yeah, I told you guys last week. It was like, whoa, throw it. He's open. Or he's open, and damn, how'd you miss that throw? Last week, I'm not going to put as much on him. I watched that film on Tuesday. There wasn't jack shit open that game. The Rams were all over Kevin O'Connell and that passing offense and what they wanted to do, let alone they tricked them with some blitzes too. So that one I'm going to put a little bit on everybody, even though he wasn't his best. But yeah, he certainly cost himself maybe a better positioning as far as a quarterback, and then just the money itself, Stugotz.
Along the same line, the past couple of weeks, Russell Wilson probably cost himself the starting job next year in Pittsburgh, did he not?
Definitely.
Because when we spoke a month ago, it was you found your guy. You got to lock him up, give him a Baker deal. He's good enough. But the last couple of weeks, you found out he is not good enough. And this is probably his last starting chance, I would think.
I would think so. And found your guy. And I know I certainly was. Hey, he's playing well and all that. Even when he was playing well, I was like, I don't know how much long term I want to commit to him. But, I mean, either way to what you're saying there, there's no way. There's no way he's going to be done as a starting quarterback. It's 3 teams in a row now where you kind of hear the locker room doesn't love him. Have you guys watched Hard Knocks? I mean, let alone from what I've heard, right, from people. You watch Hard Knocks and all his talking to the players, it falls on deaf ears. They're literally like not even listening to him because he's so robotic in what he says, and it's so like just cookie cutter. Hey, we got to play better. 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 And you're like, did he just say that 4 times in a row? That's all he said? Hey, shake it off. Hey, shake it off. Hey, shake it off. And you can see the team like literally like, yeah, okay. They're like nodding their head like, yeah, we hear you. Great, great. No way he's back there as a starting quarterback. No way he's a starting quarterback anywhere in football.
Is Mike Tomlin done in Pittsburgh? Because there are people, especially in Pittsburgh, that want him gone, but it feels like they're just kind of slow dancing in a burning room between the two of them, Pittsburgh and Tomlin, where neither one really wants to end it. They're just going to let it crumble around them.
Well, something has to change there, like drastically, right? Because they're stuck in this this meddling of where we just get in the playoffs, but we're not really a contender to get to the Super Bowl. And I think a little bit is that because they try to get to the Super Bowl and they kind of put Band-Aids on their roster and they never kind of really tear it down to go, okay, now let's rebuild it. That's a problem. Yeah, all the talks about like he's lost his last 5 playoff games and all that. I understand that. All that should be there. I get it. Right? Certainly do. 2017 was probably the last. 2017 and 2018 were probably the last 2 years where you went, man, the Steelers could go to a Super Bowl and win it. 2017, they blew that game against the Jaguars, remember? And Blake Bortles, that was a big deal because they were already talking about their championship game matchup with the Patriots. That was a mess up. The next year, they missed the playoffs, and it was one of those teams where they were banged up during the year and they got hot late, and you were like, if they get in, they might win the Super Bowl. They didn't get in. That was the last time they've been legit. Now, what I will say with Mike Tomlin, and you heard me say drastic, something on the roster drastically has to change.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. I mean, one, they can't get the quarterback issue right. That's sure. And if you want to blame Mike Tomlin for offensive coordinator failures or stuff like that, okay, I understand all that too. But the way his team plays and the way they compete and the way he manages games, I have a hard time looking and blaming Mike Tomlin. And Mikey A. They have a clear pecking order there, right? He coaches the team. They got a front office that picks the players. The players aren't all that special there. That's the other thing, too. You take away George Pickens, who the fuck cares about anybody else on Pittsburgh's offense? Who cares? Let alone, we don't even care about him that much. And I would condone, as far as drastic, trade him. He's one of your best assets. He's a pain in the butt. Get him out of here. Get some things for him. On the defensive side of the ball, it's the same thing. It's like, okay, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward has some moments. After that, who the fuck cares about anybody else? And that to me is not Mike Tomlin's problem. So that's the thing too, Mikey A, where I hear you with that, and I hear Steeler fans say that, but they haven't stepped on a field in a playoff game since 2017 where I've gone, well, yeah, they should win that game. I mean, you've heard me for 3 years now. They're one and done. They're going to lose this week. It's over. But so there's no chance to win some of these games. And a lot of the times I'd go, I'm not sure they'd be in the games if it weren't for Mike Tomlin to begin with.
Chris, I asked you last week, and I ask you again this week. Would you be surprised if the Rams made it to the Super Bowl?
Yes, I would be.
Still, you would still be surprised, huh? That team is so good, Chris.
I know they're so good. They are. This is not a good matchup for them this week. I will say that. I mean, it's hard when you turn on the film from the previous matchup and watch a guy run the ball 26 times for 255 yards. And let me just tell you, there was another 4 or 5 runs where you're like, he's about to break it for 70. Oh, they just tripped him up. I mean, he could have broke the NFL rushing record that day. He was this close.
Right.
So that's where this weekend is where I don't want to ever put anything, against McVay and Stafford, because they're special, they're battle-tested, they're Super Bowl winners. They can come up with game plans. But, man, Philadelphia, as you guys have heard me say, I think is the most talented team in football. They're well-coached. It's going to be about 18 degrees in Philadelphia on Sunday. And I expect Philadelphia to be ready to go with Jalen Hurts and company. And, yeah, the Rams are going to have to do so much. They're going to have to really change the way they approach that game and really get out of their comfort zone on the defensive side of the ball, which could lend to them making some plays and keeping the game close, but it could also lend to, oh, shit, there's A.J. Brown, 1-on-1 touchdown. Oh, shit, we blitzed, and they tossed it outside to Saquon, and now nobody's there. Oh, shit, touchdown, and we're down, 21-0 before we even got warmed up in the game. That's what I would worry about if I'm the Rams.
But, Chris, selfishly, from a fan perspective, you agree with this, right? Because when the playoffs started, I was thinking to myself, there's going to be nothing better than whatever the AFC Championship game is going to be. It's going to be Chiefs versus Bills or Chiefs versus Ravens in all likelihood. But if the Rams get past the Eagles and Detroit wins their game, I'm not certain that NFC Championship game wouldn't have more storylines and be more intriguing than the AFC Championship game, where you have Stafford going back to his old team and trying to prevent them from going to the Super Bowl.
It would be awesome. It would. Yeah. It would have great storylines. It certainly would be a great matchup. And, again, we've said this a lot. A team can be better than another team in totality, but it's a matchup league. The Eagles are a tougher matchup for the Rams than the Lions are. Because of the Lions and some of the issues they have on the defensive side of the ball, right? That's one where I go, yeah, the Rams defense is in trouble versus the Lions offense, but I look at it and go, well, I think the Rams offense will be able to move the ball on the Lions defense too. So that evens the playing field. This is one where, I could see them having a few drives moving to get the ball against the Eagles defense, but man, the Eagles just won so many battles physically up front. The Rams, really, the more you break them down, the more you realize Puka Nacua is really their only real threat on the offensive side of the ball, other than Kyron Williams in the run game. In the pass game, Cooper Kupp's not the same guy he used to be. I would expect the Eagles to kind of double Puka Nacua in some certain situations, take him away, right, and make somebody else beat them. I just don't know if they have enough weaponry there to mess with the team that I call the best roster in football in the Eagles.
Chris, a lot of people are saying that Texans defense, it's funny how things change after a single victory and the other team has a bye week. So you haven't seen them play, but now a lot of people are saying the Texans could keep it close because of their defense with Kansas City, and Kansas City has played a lot of close games. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I do too. I mean, they was close the first time around, right? When they played the Saturday before Christmas.
Yeah.
They're a team that they're extremely talented, and this is a Chiefs offense that we know is not super explosive and does play some close football games. The big thing here is, can the Chiefs protect these two super freaks coming off the edge? And protection's been an issue for the Chiefs all year long, right? So can they block? And then Like, are Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy ready to take the next steps and become really big-time explosive playoff-type receivers? Hollywood Brown's first game back was that first matchup, so he'll be a different player now. Xavier Worthy's gotten better and better as the year went along. The Texans played them some man-to-man in the football game and really gave them some issues when they did it. So I would think they're going to be emboldened by that too. But the Chiefs are the kind of team that are going to be like, well, we got something for you. And then we know how Mahomes is, and you play him a certain way and too aggressive. He's going to be like, how dare you play me like that? I'm going to throw a bomb over your head. You can't do that to me. That's disrespectful. So that'll be interesting, that chess match. And then the Texans offense, the first time around, they protected okay. And you saw last week, it's something I've been calling for the Texans offense, 3-step drop passing game.
Yes.
They don't protect well. So why are we holding the ball for 5 and 6 seconds waiting for people downfield if you don't protect well? They changed that. And that's going to be interesting to see what it does to Kansas City or whatever. But I think they hang around and are a pain in the ass. But I'm going to pick the Chiefs. I picked them 27-17.
I want to say Detroit's going to blow out the Commanders, but man, Jaden Daniels is special. I'm not going to I can't do it. I can't get myself there because that guy by himself can keep them in the game.
They're hard to blow out.
Right.
And like we've said, it's just like they do everything with him. He's so mature in how he plays. He's surgical. He can make big plays when he's there. He can scramble when it's there and do all of that. The big thing to me is the Lions defense can't let Washington go on these 15-play, 60-yard drives that chew up 7 minutes. Or like last week, it was a 17-play, 90-yard drive that chewed up like 7.5 minutes. That's what they can't do. And that's where it's incredible and how mature and surgical Jaden Daniels is. But that, to me, would be the thing that would bode well for an upset. If they can control the clock, get down there, score a touchdown, Rams offense is a little off kilter because they can't get on the field and get a rhythm going, and all of a sudden we're in a nail-biter, and we know Washington's very comfortable being in a nail-biter. My thing with Detroit, though, is I don't think they'll let that happen. Detroit has shown in these kind of games that they'll be aggressive on defense to either force your hand and create a turnover, or you go down and score, that's fine, but our offense is getting back on the field. Let's get in a shootout and see what happens. I think they're a pain in the ass, but I took the Lions, I believe, 34-21, Stugotz.
All right, let's make Chris's head explode. In a weird world we were discussing earlier, okay? If the higher seed, the better team in the playoffs, could trade their quarterback for the other team's quarterback, do you think Dan Campbell this week would trade Jared Goff for Jaden Daniels?
No.
What? Why?
Because this is why. Because Dan Campbell is like, he's loyal to a fault. He loves his Jared Goff. He loves his attitude he brings to the team.
Right.
He embodies kind of his toughness and leadership that he wants for his team. So that's why. I understand the question. I get it. I mean, every coach is going to go, damn, I wish my quarterback had Jaden Daniels' skill set, other than like the coach of the Bills or the Chiefs or the Ravens. Everybody else is going to be like, shit, I'd like one of those right there. Where can I get that? Is that on aisle 5? Where can I get that?
Right.
I mean, certainly.
Chris, I just think it's an intriguing idea. Like, fast forward to the conference championship game, okay? So the Chiefs are the better team. They could trade Patrick Mahomes for Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. I mean...
Yeah, I know. They ain't going to do it, okay?
Or Dan Campbell could trade Goff back for Stafford. I mean...
Yeah. I know it's a fun idea. It's cool, but man, Jared Goff, you go into that stadium and that city, he is so loved, and they're so behind him. He's a big part of why their culture is the way it is.
Ravens and Bills feels like it should be for much more than the right to go to Kansas City to face Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't feel right, but it's going to be such a great game. Chris, it feels like so much is on the line for this game, but is it really when you consider they have to go to Kansas City the next week? Like, one of the guys is going to be the guy that still can't do it in the postseason until next week. And then that guy's going to be the guy who can't get it done in the postseason because he lost to Mahomes.
It gives you the opportunity to take that man-to-man and take it on, right? That's what the big thing is.
Yes.
Like, they both are going to want the opportunity to go there.
Yes.
And slay the beast of Mahomes.
Right. Yes.
Realizing that, yes, they could lose, and there's still going to be that same, bullshit aura around them or talk around them. They can't win the big game. I cannot wait for this one. Yeah, it's the two best players in football this year, and they're the two biggest players that have the most pressure on them in the NFL playoffs. So that's why you love it, because they both have that, they can't win the big game, which is a bunch of bullshit. I mean, as we know, Josh Allen in his playoffs, his statistics are as good as anybody like in the history of the playoffs. Crazy. Lamar, we know, is special as hell, but he's got a losing record in the playoffs, so that's crazy. They're both like first ballot, upper tier with Deion Sanders type super Hall of Famers, in my opinion. They're just missing some of this right here. So this a little bit, not to the same extent, but this is a tough matchup for Buffalo. Buffalo has a hard time stopping big teams that can run the football. And then you couple that with a team that can throw the football as well. McDermott's going to have one of his most creative game plans of the year. And Josh Allen and the Bills offense are going to have to play their best game of the year. I'm going to be interested to see what they do. Do the Bills go, hey, we're just going to attack with Josh Allen and we're not scared to get in a shootout with you, right? Or do they go, let's control the clock. Let's run the ball. Let's let Josh Allen kind of do what we just said with Jaden Daniels. 5 yards here, 7 yards here, quarterback run, James Cook there, and keep Lamar on the sideline, right? I could see it going either way. So that'll be interesting. I do think the Bills' offense is going to be able to move the ball on the Ravens. And I think the Bills' offense will be able to run the ball on the Ravens. The Ravens' run defense is overrated to me. It's the number one run defense in football, but that's because everyone played the Ravens and went, well, passing the defense, I can throw for 350 every game. Why would I run it on them? So that's where it's a little skewed. The first matchup, the first time around, Buffalo moved them in the run game. But they got too pass happy and got away from it and then got down on the scoreboard and couldn't get back into it. I think it's a close football game, Stugotz. I do. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm going to pick the Ravens to win with a last-second field goal to win the game, 30-28.
Wow, it's going to be a great weekend. We'll get you out of here. One of these three guys, Burrow, Allen, Lamar Jackson, maybe two, they're going to be Dan Marino. Like, I agree with you. The first ballot Hall of Famers in the Deion class, but one of them has to be Dan. There's not enough time and enough Super Bowls to go around for all four of them.
I know. I'm hoping that they don't become Dan Marino and they can kind of become like John Elway at some point, where it dealt with some early, career struggles, playoffs, but then started to, as the years went by, got to win one or two late in their career, at some point in their career, to get off the schneid. Because they are Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. They are. They're that caliber. They're as good as anybody we've ever seen. Yeah, they're in a tough spot. And this is their year. This is their chance. And we'll see if they can do it, whether they can, whoever wins this one, and then if they can beat the Chiefs the next week, if the Chiefs beat the Texans.
Real quick before you go, who in the NFL or who will be drafted this year that is the next Chris Sims in the NFL?
Gosh, that we drafted this year? Well, who's
current quarterback,
who's big and white and is just a above average athlete with a really strong arm? Who is that?
Quinn Ewers.
I have a stronger arm than Quinn Ewers, and I think I'm a better athlete. So I can't give it to him there. But no, I don't know. When we get to draft time and all of that, I'll give you a better answer there. I'll have some more clues on that. All right.
All right.
He had to get that in. He's an asshole.
He is an asshole.
Who, Chris?
No, you with the big Dolphins helmet on.
All right, Sims. Enjoy the weekend.
I was about to put it back up, but never.
No, you weren't.
God, I don't want to be up in your house. Screw you. All right. If that number 1 jersey is going to be in that room, then I don't want to be in that room with it. All right.
Oh, okay.
I'll see you later.
I'm
joking, of course.